Hello everybody and welcome to the Money Man. Now, I made this video about a year and a half ago and I wasn't satisfied with it at the time. It was very amateur, as my videos continue to be, but it was super amateur, so I basically abandoned it. However, in anticipation of the new release of the £20 notes across the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in February of 2020, I thought I would revisit Scottish polymer banknotes because, my lord, they are beautiful, and I should have done this a long time ago. However, I've got a great excuse to do it now. So what I'm going to show you is the 5 and 10 Scottish pound notes from the 3 issuing banks, and I'm going to start with the Bank of Scotland, and I'll try and explain a little bit about what you can see on the banknotes, and I'll also try and tell you some of the other interesting facts about the Scottish pound as we go along. Now, there might be some brief pauses because I've got a lot of notes on these banknotes. There's a lot going on, so I do apologise if there's just some brief pauses in these videos. Anyway, enough babbling, let's get right into it. The first one is the 5 Scottish pound note, and like I said, it's from the Bank of Scotland. Now, if you've seen the preview for the new 20 and £50 notes from the Bank of Scotland, you'll see that this character is prominent in all of the banknotes issued by Bank of Scotland. Now, this gentleman is Sir Walter Scott, and he's a very famous novelist in Scotland, and they've decided to basically immortalise him on this series of banknotes, and it's sort of like this ghostly image, just right of centre on all the banknotes, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, all the 3 commercial banks in Scotland do use the same colour scheme for the different respective denominations. So all the 5s are blue, all the 10s are kind of like an orangey brown colour, and so on and so forth. Okay, they roughly mirror the Bank of England banknotes, but not completely. The £50 in Scotland is actually green, where it's red in England, and then Scotland has a £100 banknote which is yet to be previewed, which is actually red. So it gets a bit confusing, but broadly they follow the same colour scheme as the Bank of England, but not exactly. Now, so if we have a look on this, so like I said, we've got Sir Walter Scott. Now, in this banknote there's a lot of small imagery. Now, I've got this fantastic building here, and just behind the building you can see a clear window with the thistle. Now, you've also got the thistle represented here. Now, the thistle is the national flower of Scotland, and all the 4 countries that make up the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland all have their own respective flowers to represent them, and Scotland's is the thistle. So you see that the thistle is represented quite prominently in Scottish banknotes, and here we've got a nice sort of sigil coat of arms with the Scottish flag and the insignia right there. You can see that this is obviously £5 because it's represented by the denomination, and you have the nice reflective quality in this. And what I love about the building design is, it starts off solid here, and then as you move through the building, the windows become clear until the edge of the building is almost like a blueprint. And I think that's such a wonderful feature, because what you're celebrating is, not only are you celebrating architecture, but you're kind of celebrating, the planning phase behind it and the design process. I think that is such a brilliant piece of design in this banknote. Very, very nice. So let's spin it around and look at the back. Now, on the back it says we've got Brigg o' Doon. Now, Brigg o' Doon is basically means a bridge of Doon, and it's just a prominent bridge in Scotland. Very old bridge, very beautiful, and we've obviously got this wonderful statue right here, and you'll see statues are quite prominent on all of these Bank of Scotland banknotes. So yeah, that's the first one. That's the £5 note. Absolutely fantastic banknote, as all the banknotes are in this series. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is the 10 Scottish pounds banknote from the Bank of Scotland. And here it is. Now, again, you can see that we've got Sir Walter Scott on the front again, which is basically a hallmark of Bank of Scotland banknotes. And you can see we've got pretty much the same designs. Now, the other £10 notes are sort of like an orange colour, similar to the Bank of England £10. However, this one is more of a brown, and I don't really like the colour scheme. However, the imagery of the banknote is exceptional, and if we spin it around and look at the back, it's really, really nice. You can see we've got a Glenfinnan viaduct, a fantastic viaduct with a train line running on it. Very, very beautiful. And we've got another prominent statue, which I believe this one is located in Edinburgh. I'm sure when I went up to Edinburgh a couple of years ago, I walked past this, but do correct me if I'm wrong. And if you ever get the chance to go to Scotland, do it, especially Edinburgh. Beautiful city, wonderful people, so much beautiful architecture to see. It's just a city rich in history. Go to Scotland, please do. It's a wonderful place. So yeah, that's the £10 note. Now, we'll move on to the next pair of banknotes, which are going to be from the Royal Bank of Scotland, not to be confused with the Bank of Scotland. Many people get them confused. So we'll start off with the £5 note. Here it is. Now this, for me, is one of the best. It's absolutely exceptional. The design just works, and it works interestingly, despite the fact that you've got the mixture of orientations from the vertical to the horizontal. I think that's quite unusual in a banknote. It does happen. Sometimes it really doesn't work, but in this one, there's a harmony in it, and I really love it. And what I love about is this portrait on the front. Now, this lady's called Nan Shepherd. I'll explain a little bit more about her in a moment. But the theme that the Royal Bank of Scotland have gone with is basically prominent Scottish women. And they've done it really well, because the women that they've chosen to feature on their banknotes are worthy of a place on these banknotes. I get very frustrated sometimes when, central banks will try to pander to a certain political climate of the time, and they will try to shoehorn images of people onto banknotes, and are they really worthy? I'm not so sure. And I get very frustrated when they try and shoehorn contemporary politics into these banknote designs. However, that is not the case here. These women are well worthy of celebration, and I think it's a fantastic thing that the Royal Bank of Scotland have done that. So, you can see we've got this beautiful sort of vertical clear window, and we've got the Royal Bank of Scotland logo right there. You can see that we've got the denomination represented just here and here. We've got our serial number, and again, Royal Bank of Scotland. And I love these sort of horizontal lines. I don't know what's going on there, but it works. And I like how they've sort of illuminated the left side of Nan Shepherd's face. It's almost like, she's a character from the past looking forward to the future, and she looks pretty cool, like quite a strong character. And one of the other things I like about this banknote is the theme of nature that flows through it. You can see there's lots of trees and bushes, and that is a bit of respect to Nan Shepherd as well, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But if we spin it around and look at the back, you can see we've got two beautiful mackerel fish, and they're sort of dancing together, swimming together, and to me, something about it represents DNA. I'm not too sure why. I guess it just looks like the strands of DNA. I don't think that's the purpose behind it, but I think it's absolutely exquisite, showing off the natural, flora and fauna of Scotland. Very, very nice banknote. Now, a little bit more about Nan Shepherd. So Nan Shepherd was actually a Scottish modernist writer and poet, and she featured the Scottish landscape and weather quite prominently in her writings. And I think that's why we've got Nan Shepherd, and then we've got a lot of imagery of, you can see we've got the trees, and then you can see we've got the landscape, the Scottish landscape in the background. So there's a real harmony in the theme and the imagery of this banknote. Pays great respect to this fantastic woman. So let's move on to the next one, which is the £10. And here it is, and this is arguably the best of all the 6 banknotes I'm going to show you today. You can see the core design elements are essentially the same. We've got the reflective quality in the Royal Bank of Scotland logo, and we've got this beautiful clear window running down the left side of the note. And on the front of this one, we've got Mary Somerville. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a moment, but you can see that we're continuing the theme of Scottish nature and prominent Scottish women. So, really, really nice, and I love the portrait. She looks kind of angelic. Really, really nice. Spin it around, look at the back, and look at this. This is where the banknote really, really shines. We've got 2 otters, and again, they're sort of like dancing together. Very playful creatures, beautiful animals that you can find in the wilds of Scotland. Wonderful, wonderful banknote, very nice. And the patterns that run through this banknote are just exquisite. And again, you can see some writings on here. These are basically paying homage to the novelists represented in the banknotes that wrote about the Scottish landscape. Really, really nice. Now, let's talk a bit more about Mary Somerville. Now, Mary Somerville was a Scottish science writer and polymath, and she studied mathematics and astronomy, and she was nominated to be jointly the first female member of the Royal Astronomical Society, at the same time as a woman called Caroline Herschel. So yeah, she's pretty important. And again, if you're going to choose to represent people, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. Find people that are worthy, because these are wonderful, wonderful characters. Like I said, deservedly so on these banknotes. So yeah, there we go. Now, the final pair of banknotes come from the Clydesdale Bank, and their design is quite different from the other two banks. We'll start off with £5, and here it is. Now, I really like these banknotes as well. I'm very torn between the Royal Bank of Scotland notes and these banknotes, because I really like the Clydesdale ones. But you can see on the front we've actually got Sir William Arrol. Now, he lived from 1839 to 1913, and he's an interesting character as well. Basically, he was a Scottish civil engineer, bridge builder, and a Liberal Unionist Party politician. So you've got the theme of bridge construction on this banknote, that marries up with his character and what he's famous for. So again, great harmony in the character that's represented and the imagery in the banknote. And you can see it actually says Forth Bridge. So it's a celebration of Scottish engineering. Scots are quite famous for engineering around the world. Not as famous as the Germans, of course, but they're still pretty famous. Many, many fantastic bridges in Scotland. So yeah, really, really nice banknote. You can see that actually we've got a geographic representation of Scotland and all its outlying islands right there, which make up the reflective feature in this banknote, and the clear clear polymer window with the bridge just there. So really, really, really nice. Spin it around and look at the back, and again we've got the Forth Bridge again. Really, really nice design of the banknote. Bridges are quite a popular thing these days to put on banknotes. If you saw my last video featured the Macau-Zhuhai Bridge, and here we've got the Forth Bridge. A little bit different in scale and size, but bridges nonetheless. So really, really nice. Now let's move on to the 10. So this is the last note that I'll feature in this polymer series for today, and this is the 10 Clydesdale Scottish pound note, and it's very, very nice. So you can see that the orange colour scheme that I was talking about is a bit more prominent in the Clydesdale and the Royal Bank of Scotland banknotes. Now, the gentleman on the front here is a very, very important character in Scottish culture and tradition. This is Robert Burns. Now, Robert Burns is basically, he was a poet, and he did a lot of stuff actually. He was a lyricist, and he's widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland, and he is celebrated worldwide. And if any of you know about Scottish culture and tradition, they actually have Burns Night, which is a big festival in Scotland. Wonderful, wonderful gentleman, very, very talented. And yeah, died pretty young as well, 1759 to 1796. So you can see that he's represented here with a quill and ink, obviously a nod to his literary background. Really, really nice. And what you can see here is that we've got the change in the colours in the reflective strip. Before it was green, and now it's sort of this golden colour. So you've got Scotland right there. And I believe this is Edinburgh Castle that's represented right there. Oh yeah, you can see it says Edinburgh Castle. Very, very nice. Again, if you go to Scotland, go to Edinburgh Castle. It's very windy up there, but by Lord, it is beautiful. Now, let's have a look at the back. And this is it. Look at that. Look at the back of that. Is that not exquisite? Such a beautiful banknote. Kudos to the designers of this new generation of polymer banknotes in Scotland. They are absolutely wonderful, and it just makes me want to go up there again. So you can find these all in Edinburgh, these different respective buildings, yeah, just go there and have a look for yourself. Edinburgh Castle is wonderful. So yeah, that's what we have on the back, celebrating Scotland's architecture and history, and that's what banknotes should do. So, let me know what you think about these incredible banknotes. Have you been able to get hold of them? I was very lucky to get hold of them at face value because I have some connections in the UK that go up there and grab hold of these banknotes when they're released. However, the banks will not issue UNC banknotes on demand, so you have to get them upon release. You can still find them online, but they do usually sell at least double face value, particularly for the £5 notes. And you have to also remember that Bank of England banknotes are used extensively in Scotland as well. And as you've got a cash supply that is split between 3 different commercial banks, and then you've also got the dominance of Bank of England banknotes, you've got a situation where, these are not so readily available in UNC at face value. So there are some problems in collecting these banknotes. However, if you do get the opportunity to pick them up, don't worry about paying over face value. They are definitely worth it and they are highly collectible. And just look at Scottish banknotes through time. They go up in value. They are a worthwhile investment. We're not talking about hundreds of pounds and hundreds of dollars, but they do increase in value and will always be highly collectible. Even some of the more boring previous series like this. And now you can see here I've got a bundle of £1 notes, and these are from 2001, given to me from a gentleman in the UK, William, who I'll give a big shout out here. Thank you so much for these, William. Fantastic banknotes. They're highly collectible. So yeah, I'll be selling these in the near future. Maybe I'll sell them as a bundle, maybe I'll break the bundle and sell them individually, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, do get hold of Scottish banknotes if you can. Right, that wraps it up for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm really excited about the £20 banknotes that are coming up. Do look online. You can go down to the description and find a link to my Facebook page where I've featured a preview of some of the new Scottish banknotes that are coming next year and the years after. Do have a look at those. Let me know what you think. Are you going to get hold of the new 20? Are you trying to build this set? I would love to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. It's the Money Man signing out for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.